Good evening, everyone. And as Les mentioned, my name is Brandon Middleton. I am a staff attorney at Pacific Legal Foundation in Sacramento. And real quickly, just if for whatever reason throughout my talk tonight, if you can't hear me, you can't hear my voice, just throw up your hand and I'll increase my volume. But what I'm going to do tonight is give a little information on myself, how I got involved with Pacific Legal Foundation, why I became involved with PLF, kind of a summary of the litigation, the Endangered Species Act litigation concerning the Delta smelt, some salmon and other fish in Fresno that I'm sure a lot of you are already familiar with. The main constitutional aspect of that litigation with which we're concerned, and then afterwards I'll be glad to answer questions from anyone in the audience, and after, even as the night progresses, speak one-on-one with everyone out there. So, but thank you very much for having me this evening. It's kind of ironic, actually, that we're here in what used to be a church, because I grew up in the Midwest, grew up in Ohio, and went to college. And after college, I studied economics, and I realized that at that time that God did not give me the ability to create wealth. So what He did was He sent me to law school. And that's really why I went to law school, because at that time I really didn't have a real idea of what it was I wanted to be, except that I thought being a lawyer might be pretty cool. I got to law school and I kind of, took constitutional law and realized how basically flawed and incorrect some of the case law and the jurisprudence was that's out there, and how that those flaws really have a significant impact on everyday Americans like you and me. How it's incredibly difficult nowadays, based upon some of the law that's out there, for people to start a business, for them to use their property, to take advantage of their property rights. And I really wanted to do something about that. I wanted to help make a change in the law. And that's eventually I came across Pacific Legal Foundation, and I told my wife, who was then my fiance, I said, let's give California a try. And she said sure, and that was about three or so years ago. And I'm here right now. We're both loving Sacramento, and I'm loving what I'm doing at PLF and how we're fighting the good fight. And what I do mainly is fight environmental extremism that we see every day in California, most often, or I should say, most significantly here in California. The Endangered Species Act, there should be no doubt, and I've seen a lot written about this, there should be no doubt that the way the Endangered Species Act is set up now is that it does put fish and other species before people. And we saw this coming when these Delta smelt and salmon restrictions came up. We knew we wanted to get involved, and eventually we were contacted by Stewart and Jasper Orchards. Stewart and Jasper Orchards, they grow almonds and pistachios and other crops just up the road in Newman. They are a family-run business. They've been around for 50-some years or so. Jim Jasper is the president. He is approximately 60 years old. He has a son who is in his late 30s, I believe, early 40s. And Jim also has a grandson who's just, I think, beginning high school, if I'm not mistaken. In any event, what Jim is wanted to do, he just wants to live the American dream, as his father did, which is to own the land, use that land to provide jobs and food to Californians and the rest of the American people, and support his family in doing so. But what has happened as a result of the Endangered Species Act and these water cutbacks is that his water costs have skyrocketed to the point where he, quite frankly, is afraid that in the not too distant future, he's not going to be able to run his business that his family has operated for the better part of the last century. And that's a darn shame, and it's not right, and that's really why we chose to represent him. And we're thankful for Stewart and Jasper Orchards, our other farming clients that are with us, and we're thankful for the thousands of individuals who donate to PLF, because that's really how we represent Stewart and Jasper Orchards and others. Litigation costs money, and we're thankful for the people who do provide us with donations so that we can represent folks like Stewart and Jasper Orchards. Since we became involved in the litigation May of 2009, there has been it's been a slow process, but we have made some progress. The two key things really that stand out to me are that Judge Wanger, he's overseeing this entire litigation. He has told the federal government that when you impose these Endangered Species Act restrictions, you cannot throw humans to the side. You actually have to look and factor into the equation the human cost of taking water away from the San Joaquin Valley, away from the west side, away from people. The government quite simply didn't do that when it chose to do these restrictions, and Judge Wanger made the right decision in telling the government that it violated the law when it imposed the Endangered Species Act restrictions. A related aspect is that most of you are probably aware of the water allocations. They change. They come out with a set number. You're going to get X amount of your allocation, of your historical allocation. They usually come out with that in December, and that that initial amount, has been 0 to 10% over the past couple of years. That's devastating to farmers like Stewart and Jasper. It's absolutely devastating. So what you do, because what you do in that instance is you go to the court for immediate relief so that the pumps can start flowing. And unfortunately, the way the Endangered Species Act is set up, as I mentioned before, is that there's a lot of case law out there that specifically says that you put humans below on the totem pole, you put them below species. That doesn't make sense. And what we've seen with this litigation is that we've seen we're getting back to a restoration of sanity, and that people are being put at least at the same level as fish, and we've been able, as a result of this litigation, been able to ease up some of those restrictions, which has been, I think, good news. We're still a ways away from the finality of the litigation. Judge Wanger has before him several motions that he still has to decide, but so far I think it's gone fairly well. I know it's still incredibly difficult for everyone out there with the situation, but believe me when I say that we have made progress. This situation, though, the regulatory drought, is not just an immoral story. We believe at Pacific Legal Foundation that it's also unconstitutional. Now, the reason we say that is because what the government has decided to do here is they've decided to take water away from humans and give it to the Delta smelt. And you guys are probably aware of this. Politicians, for whatever reason, seem to forget this. But whenever the federal government decides to do anything, they have to tie that action into some enumerated power under the Constitution. Their actions have to be authorized by the Constitution. And what the government is saying here is that, well, we have the Commerce Clause. When we take away water from humans and give it to fish, give it to the Delta smelt under the Endangered Species Act, we're regulating commerce. And so there should be no question about the validity of what we're doing here. But what does the Constitution say? The Constitution says that the federal government may regulate commerce amongst the states. It may regulate interstate commerce. The problem here is when you think of regulating the Delta smelt, there's nothing interstate and there's nothing commercial about this fish. The Delta smelt is found in the Delta and only in the Delta. It's a California-only fish. It has no commercial value whatsoever. And upon that basis, the restrictions are quite simply not authorized by the Constitution. And because of that lack of authorization, we should not even be in this position today. And that's why we're in court right now, challenging the constitutionality of the Delta smelt restrictions.
For more PLF videos, visit our YouTube channel.